Okay, there was going to be a mutiny if I waited until tomorrow to do part two of the child support story time, the missing social security card, and the baby daddy apartment. If I planned to wait until the next day, but folks were like clamoring for part two. So here's part two, even though it's like an hour later. Okay, so remember where we left off. The mom whose child's identity has been stolen is standing outside. The 911 operator is on the phone. The landlord has come. The landlord is standing outside the apartment, and the baby daddy has some explaining to do. So that is where we left off, and now here we go with part two. Okay, here's the poster. Just for the sake of this story, we're just going to call her Tasha. At this point, Tasha says, there are tears in my eyes. I'm screaming at both of them to show me the lease before I lose all of my complete stuff. The girlfriend gets up and walks into their bedroom. At first, I'm thinking she's going to actually get the lease. No, I hear the doorknob click and I get furious. Why the F won't she come out? If she is she effing scared, I'm going to put my hands on her. She thinks I came over here for her. Y'all really trying to take me over the edge. Then I hear, police, what's going on? Two officers are standing in the doorway as the girlfriend comes out and begins to explain that she felt threatened by me. I looked at them and explained that the reason I came over was due to the phone call I had gotten earlier that day from their landlord about my son's information being used to get the apartment. One of the officers comes to me and asks if we can step outside to discuss what happened. I follow him outside to the front porch and explained everything to him, including the call to 911, the call from the landlord, and that I wanted to see proof that they did indeed use my son's information to gain the apartment. The officer acknowledges that the reason they came was because of my call and asked the general incident questions and so on. Some time passes as by this time I'm standing on the sidewalk waiting to hear about a lease and some sort of documentation to prove me right or wrong. And guess who shows up? The landlord with his copy of the lease. He speaks with the officer I originally spoke to, confirming everything I told him before. The officer goes back inside, and I look at the landlord and just ask him, how did you not fully check this? Did you not do a background check? He tells me he doesn't want to make any comment about this until he speaks to his attorney. I just look at him, and I turn and walk away. Before I get more than 3 steps, he says, Miss, so is it true that this man isn't your relative? I turn to him and simply say that the man that's renting from you is my son's father. He used my son's information to get this place, and now I don't even know what to do to try to fix this. He says, you are not his partner? No, we have never been together. He reaches in his bag and tells me to only look at the first page. I looked at the paper, and there it was, my son's name and his current girlfriend's name listed on the lease. My head just dropped. I handed him back his copy and just sat on the curb. I can't really tell you what exactly I was but I remember everything being like a lot of noise in my head. Like I was actively trying to block out thoughts, but the noise was like a loud static. The officer that I had spoken to asked if we could walk down a little bit further to talk. He explained to me that what I had did walking into their house and all could be seen as criminal trespass. However, the girlfriend, she said did, but it meant to say the girlfriend didn't want to press charges. He also continues to say that because of the situation, I will most likely have to come in to file another report about the lease. I asked him if he could be removed from the home since it's been confirmed that he is not my son and that as his mother, I should have a say whether he can be inside the home. The officer responds with, I'm not exactly sure if we can do that at this time, since you are not on the rental agreement. Your son is, and he's a baby. There would be no way for us to legally remove him if the other leaseholder wants him to stay. He continues on with advising me to file a report for the identity theft and also to a stay away order. It was called something else back then. And that through the identity theft, I could pursue my son's father for what he's done and also get additional protections for his social security number. I just crumble Again, another series of thoughts and reasons more to hate this man. I began to cry again and tell the officer that he just doesn't understand what he's put me through and everything that I've had to deal with, and how he's never helped me, never given me $1, and now he can stay in an apartment that was only gotten through forging my son's info. He sympathizes with me and just tells me to come into the city headquarters as quickly as I can. He gives me his card as he tells me to call him so he can help me with filling out the report. So I went home. On the way to my car, I see my son's grandmother on her front step, looking as if she was about to walk over to her son's apartment. I felt so defeated in that moment. I also felt unsafe at how close these people lived to me. But I guess to wrap up the whole story, at least this part, because there's more, I did file both the stayaways and the identity theft reports shortly after my son's father and his girlfriend were evicted. I was able to prosecute him for forgery, identity theft, and fraud. I was awarded $10,000 in restitution, and he spent a year in jail, even though he was supposed to do 36 months, I believe, after a year of going to court about it. As I stated early on, this was the beginning of almost another 5-year back and forth between him and I. Um, yeah, this is honestly a long story, but I'm going to honestly end it right there because this is a long story. But you guys see that this part gets resolved. The man gets evicted, the woman gets evicted, and he goes to jail for fraud. She gets awarded $10,000 in restitution. I'm not sure, honestly, if she actually sees that money considering he went to jail. This is going to be ongoing, but I did wrap this part for y'all. Anyways, go ahead once again, jump into the comment section and let me know what you think of this story so far. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.